there's a bigger question here, I guess, but could this be turned around in your view? Is this something that could, can we head in a better direction, or is that all shot with as things currently look?
No, there is no question we can improve things, and things already are improving. I think that even over the last year, they've noticed that this didn't deter people. Them taking down a couple of the more well-known individuals around the world and stomping on us as hard as they could. Not only did it not scare people away, it actually motivated people to get more involved and actually increase the numbers of people that are starting to get interested in their rights because everybody saw how wrong what they're doing really is. And they're like, okay, no, this is getting bad because next is going to be me. Now these laws are just getting worse, and these governments are becoming more oppressive. Everybody knows something's wrong, so
Yeah.
we can absolutely start to steer this in a better direction. And the way to do that is to become informed. Educate yourself. Don't listen to people like me. We're giving you directions to go out and to look into matters for yourself and do your own due diligence and just educate yourself. That's what this comes down to. We're in this mess because we don't educate ourselves anymore. We rely completely on what we believe to be our governments, and they are not our governments. That's the first thing people need to realize. These are not our governments. They are corporations, and they are not our governments. And they have enslaved us through ignorance, through their public education system, through making us believe from the time we were children that they are government and they make laws and we must obey those laws. And that's not the case. So we need to start informing ourselves. These people, these institutions are not going to teach us our rights. They're not going to teach us how to be free. They're not going to teach us how to not be their slaves anymore. Why would they do that? So we need to educate ourselves, and we need to stop becoming uninformed consumer whores, because that's what we all are. I talked about that yesterday on my show. I call it the beginning is here. I don't know if you might have gone to my website before there
Sure. Yeah.
before I went to jail, and we used to have a little poster on the front there, and it said the beginning is near. And we had a little guy on a ladder looking over a brick wall, and he saw
Sure.
the
Yeah.
universe out behind him there, and that's changed now, and it's now the beginning is here. And the beginning is us reclaiming our rights and our freedoms by reclaiming knowledge, reclaiming an education, depending on ourselves, knowing, realizing that they're feeding us poison and they're trying to kill us, and then give us sickness and disease, and then kill us with chemotherapy once we get cancer from the bad food they're giving us. This is all about education, living properly, learning your rights and freedoms, and just not believing in their puke anymore, their institutional puke, which is what it is. It's garbage. It's meant to distract you. It's meant to make you lazy. It's meant to make you scared to look into your rights because you don't want to wind up like Dean Clifford. So just keep doing whatever they say and eating their rat poison and getting cancer. So that's all it really takes is start to educate yourself. And there is no excuse anymore to not do this. You don't have to go down to a law library and spend hours and weeks looking up case law and reading material. All these videos are available online. The internet's here. You don't need to watch TV anymore. In fact, you need to shut that TV off. You need to cancel your cable subscription and stop listening to your TV. That is actually the most important thing, is to stop listening to your television. Life is trying to teach you things, and the television is distracting you. Life is in direct competition with the television now because that's unreality. So we have real life trying to teach you and unreality brainwashing you. And they're in competition with one another, and it's no wonder we're tired at the end of the day. Your common sense is telling you one thing, but the television is telling you something else, and you want to believe the TV. So you gotta turn that shit off, because people like Henrik here in Red Ice Radio are trying to teach you things. They're trying to motivate you and educate you to help yourself. And we can't compete with the television and all the money that you're giving to the television stations and these corporations for the advertising they pay for when you have a cable subscription. So you need to get rid of that kind of stuff. Get on the internet, educate yourself, and just try to make yourself better, because that's how you help us make this a better world.
I think we're seeing this becoming more and more polarized. People who are just heading completely into oblivion and further into the machine, and then people who are actively trying to disconnect and everything. And I know before you went to prison, Dean, as well, you were talking a little bit about some of the ideas maybe of trying to set something up alternative on the side of creating something where people who actually cooperate and work together can remain. I want to just ask you a little bit about some of those ideas, and if you've improved on those, who've had any time to think about that even. But one of the kind of follow-on questions to that is, I think we're going to see more and more of those kinds of things, of people who actively, just as you said, disconnect, cut from the mainstream BS, and wants to do something that's very much different. Have you thought about any of these kinds of issues?
Absolutely. Actually, the last part of my conference in Hamilton, the last 2-3 hours on Sunday, right before I was arrested, we spent talking about my divestment concept, and I've gone a lot further along with that now. I've had 16 months to really perfect it and refine it. And I do have a website. It's deanclifford.info. And right now it's just a link to most of the old videos and updates and other stuff that we've worked on. It's pretty bare bones right now because I've been gone for a while, but we're going to be relaunching that and jazzing it up a little bit. And we're going to have a new forum attached to it again right away. And we really want to push this divestment idea, which is to divest from their system and invest in our own new societies that we build for us the way we want to live. And that's really the best way that we can fight everything that's going on, or not fight what's going on. There's no need to fight anymore. We're just going to leave. We're just going to put in our resignation, say, thank you, I'm done, bye. I'm not going to have your cable subscription anymore. That $150 a month I spent on the Ultimate package so I could watch Jerry Springer and Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I'm now going to invest that into something that benefits me and my family down the road. We're going to reinvest that money into our own society and our own little groups and organic farming and other kind of ideas that we got going. So we got to get these divestment communities going around the world so people can all connect with one another. And that's what I want this forum to be, is a place where people who have businesses, who are making products, organic products, can deal directly with the people that want to buy these things, tax-free, bullshit-free, chemical-free. We're just going to build our own society and our own economy. And hopefully people out there start doing the same thing spontaneously on their own.
Yeah.
And we just kill the beast by defunding it, which is what divestment is. We just kill it by stop putting our energy and our money into it, and they will just die on their own. There's no need to fight it. Just stop putting your money and your energy into it, and it will die on its own.
I agree.
And that's what we plan on doing.
Yeah. What do you think people can do to well, it's a two-pronged thing, of course. It's why not trying to improve things where we are? I get that too, and at the same time, then kind of do what we can to disconnect from it, to become less dependent on the very system that is aiming towards enslaving us. But what would your recommendation be to people who want to seek to try to do something which is far more productive than where we're heading right now? What can they do?
Well, the smartest and the easiest and fastest thing to do is to stop being a consumer whore. To stop buying all this shit that you do not need, that these corporations are peddling to you on the television. Your houses are filled with shit. You are horribly in debt. You have multiple cars per family you do not need because you're living well beyond your means. You have countless video game systems in your house and televisions and trinkets and this and that. You got to have the newest iPhone when it comes out, even though the one you bought 2 months ago works just fine. All that shit that you're doing has to stop because you're being enslaved through debt and being a consumer whore. That's the first thing you got to stop doing. That's what by being an informed consumer is the most important thing. And just decomplicating your life, decluttering your life, getting rid of the shit you don't need, getting rid of cable TV, getting rid of all these video game systems you don't need, and start spending time with your family again. Eating properly. It's cheaper to eat properly than it is to eat their prepackaged puke. Say that real fast 3 times. Prepackaged puke, prepackaged puke. Stop eating the prepackaged puke. Go plant a garden with your family and grow some food during the summer, and you'd spend time with your family and get away from the television. You don't need all the cars you have. You don't need all the debt you have. You don't need a giant home to impress all your friends. The only person you're impressing is the bankers because they're getting all your money when you get paid. So it's downsizing and divesting from that way of life because we've been programmed to want all these things that you don't need. You're programmed to want them. You want all these things. You don't need them. And believe me, life becomes much more rewarding when you don't have this shit anymore. when your life becomes less complicated and more simple and more debt free. And that's how you start. That's just the start of it. So shopping habits are a biggie. You know what? I'm sorry if your kids get mad at you because you don't want to buy them the newest video game system or the newest games that come out every other week, and they spit on you and call you an asshole, and because you don't want to buy the newest video game system. Well, that's because you're not a very good parent. You got to learn how to parent properly, and not be your kid's best friend, but be a parent again, and
Yeah.
start doing things with your kids instead of just plugging them in front of a video game system and believing that that's being a good parent. So, and some of this comes down to looking in the mirror and realizing that maybe you're just, um, uh, I usually tell people, and I covered this last night in my video broadcast. I said you have to go and look in front of the mirror tomorrow morning and tell yourself that you're stupid. You don't know a lot of things. You think you're smart, but you're not. You think you're educated, but you're not. You know nothing, and you need to start re-educating yourself and admit to yourself that you have a lot to learn. That's the
Yeah.
toughest, is realizing that the problem is you. Admit in front of the mirror, I am the problem. I've allowed this to happen to me, and I have to change this, and then go and do it.
Yeah, and, choosing stuff over other qualities is, of course, a temporary fix as well. It makes people, I think, temporarily feel good, and this makes sense when they realize that they're also are spiritually disconnected. They're completely deracinated. They don't know who they are. They know nothing about their history. Where they come from, what they belong to. They're told to feel guilty even these days about who they are. History has been turned against them, and materialism, I think, has become a substitute and a quick fix to fill these the void, the emptiness that people do feel. And so it's really about getting in touch with what you really are as well, your essence, and trying to learn your own history. And I mean, this is the way we've been atomized, and this is the way we become good little consumer soldiers in this global new world order, because that's the way they control you. And I think that that's why they don't want people to look for the deeper answers, or figure out what really happened, or look at history, revision, and all these kinds of issues. So I think it's really important to realize it's a multi-pronged kind of issue that goes on here, and the very fact that we have to discover who we are again, of getting in touch with our real culture, with our real roots, is absolutely essential for us to be able to disconnect and to be lured in by these temporary things that we choose over quality of life.
Well, that's just it. People are made to feel pretty worthless in today's day and age, and I think, and I'm glad you said that, to fill that void, this void people feel in their lives because their lives are so awful. They have a job they hate. Their family sucks. Their family life is garbage. Their kids hate them. They don't get along with their wife. TV is about the only place where you can escape all of that. You just feel empty inside because nothing you're doing feels rewarding. So you fill it with all this shit, this crap you don't need, that they're trying to tell you this will make you feel better if you buy this. And it doesn't. So you keep buying more and more shit and filling your houses with garbage and spending money and going further into debt, thinking that this is what's going to make you feel better. Oh, we're going to be a good we're going to be a perfect family now if we just buy this and we buy this. And that's the cycle that has to end. And people have to start realizing that when you do start realizing that you have value, and when there's other things you can do with family to feel rewarded and start feeling like you have value again, and not feel start empowering yourself. I think that's the big reason that I like that people go and start educating yourself and realizing what's going on, and looking around the world and seeing what is happening with these laws and these governments and how they're scamming you, and this big illusion that's going on, is you actually feel empowered once again. You don't feel powerless anymore. And once you start feeling empowered again, like you do have some control in your life and you are worth something and you can educate yourself and this stuff really isn't that difficult, you start to feel empowered. And empowerment is a big, big thing because you start to feel motivated again when you're empowered. And I just went through that in jail, where you feel very powerless because you're stuck in there. The courts are not recognizing any of your rights and freedoms. So you feel demotivated because you feel completely powerless in your situation. And as soon as you start to feel empowered again, your motivation level goes through the roof and you want to start actually doing things again. And they don't want you to do that. They want you to go to them for everything. And I'm telling you to do everything yourself. Do it yourself.